Greetings, everyone. I hope you're having a good Friday. You're staying dry. It looks like the rain is starting to move away, so that's good. So this is the next Fireside chat. So this is July 31st, 2020. So these are going to be probably become more and more casual as I just really want to get information out to you all and less polished. So please bear with my casual nature of these videos, but hopefully they're helpful. So I'm in the process. I just recorded a video address to the entire School of Music that'll go out to all faculty, staff, and students. That's really mainly for the students who are coming back in a few weeks to guide them to some specific information. The video is not long; it's only about 3.5 minutes, but it guides them to the campus plan for coming back to campus and our specific documents. So I'm hoping that they'll listen to that and it'll encourage them to do a little bit more research on what to expect when they come back. So that I have that scheduled to go out at 5 o'clock today. It's right now when I'm doing this. It's what 1:30. So you'll probably get this a little bit ahead of that video when it's released at 5. So look for that. So the other list of things I need to talk to you about. I've made a decision on practice rooms. I'm going to talk to the DAC next week about how to implement it. But basically, I'm going to assign practice rooms to specific studios and applied areas. I feel that this is probably the safest option because it'll help us do some contact tracing. If a student is exposed or if a student is diagnosed with COVID-19, we know which practice room they've specifically been in rather than exposing an entire random sampling of the School of Music. It keeps it into a smaller cluster of students. So that's one reason. There are other reasons that I'll get into it with the DAC, but I just feel it's going to be better to have control in that way. So I'm going to work out the details with the DAC, but if you have any questions or suggestions, you can go to them before we have our conversation next week, and that meeting is on Thursday. So look out for that. This past week, I had some conversations with the Forbes folks about doing the recital hall lessons. They had mocked up a schedule for me, and then I did my own schedule that I sent back to them, which I think they're going to use, which basically shows whenever there's a free time period in the standard classroom grid time, we could have a 50-minute lesson on the recital hall stage, and that has gotten us up to about 26. My schedule allows for 26 lessons per week. So probably what I'm going to end up doing is, and Sarah and I are going to work on the details of how to schedule this, but once a student is assigned a recital time or a recital date, once all those are assigned, then we'll go back into a second layer of scheduling, which may be whoever's recital comes first, they get the choice of having four lesson times on the stage, and we'll do a sign up like that, and then the next person will get 4 lesson times, and we'll do it by when the lessons are. It's not going to be an every other week rotation. We just don't have enough space for that. But I'm confident we can get, if I can do 26 lessons a week over a few weeks, I can probably get I'm guessing at least 4 in by the time someone's recital rolls around. So, but I'll give you more details on that soon. 119, which is across the hall from the music office, has been set up as it has the classroom set up. I believe all the software's updated. So those of you who are going to be using those podiums with the hover cams, if you want to come in and take a look at those and play with that setup and see how it works for you, you're free to come do that anytime. I was going to do a schedule for people to come in, but I don't think there's going to be a rush of people coming in, so I'm just going to leave that to you all. You'll be able to get into that room and just be able to take a look at that setup. So. The one thing I want to bring up, and I don't know if I was clear last week in my address, but it has to do with the expectations of when you're teaching. And this is really with academic classes. When you're teaching an academic class, you need to be prepared if a student is exposed to COVID, or if they are diagnosed with COVID and they are out of class for 2 weeks, you have to have some plan in place to be ready for them to keep up with those classes. And so, of course, if you're doing a hybrid setting and some of the students are remote and some of the students are in the room, if you record that lecture, of course, you can post that lecture, and it will be it'll be available for a student who may be in isolation. But we are expected to be able to keep those students who are gone for 2 weeks, because it may end up being a situation where 3 students are gone for 2 weeks, and other students are gone for 2 weeks, and other students are gone for 2 weeks, and we have to make it work. So there is an expectation, at least for those academic classes, that I know it's going to be far more difficult with online lessons and ensemble. I'm not suggesting that with this at all. But with those academic classes, please think of ways. Please put some thought into how that could work. And I again recommend you go to. You can contact the people at CFI and see what they're doing, because I'm sure you're not. If you are anxious about that and not quite sure what to do, I'm sure they've talked to somebody like you across campus and can help them come up with some solutions. So please reach out to those folks. Also, I want to let you know that if a student is diagnosed with COVID, their tracking situation that they're going to be doing is so they're going to look at the class. If there's a face-to-face meeting of that class, they're going to want to know who was seated directly in front of that student, directly behind that student, and either side of that student. And they're probably going to recommend that those students self-isolate for 10 days to 2 weeks, whatever the standard is. I can't remember. I'll say 2 weeks because that's a safer number. So you also need to know that if you have a student, if you are in a classroom with a student and you are within those areas, that distance of a student, you may be asked to isolate for 14 days. And so you need to be very careful in your traveling around the building, and especially when you're in class, not to approach students, because that can put you at risk of not only of catching the virus, but also a situation where you may be isolated for 14 days. So please be careful about that, and I can give more information about that later if people want to talk about that. The budget restrictions. Well, my budget limitations have been I don't want to say lifted, but I have been given permission to move forward with some of my pandemic preparations. I'm currently working with procurement to get larger air purification systems for our large rehearsal rooms. Ruben has said has approved that, and it's been approved. So I'm looking at those. I'm working with the procurement people to find the best units for those situations. So those are our highest risk areas, especially when we have an ensemble rehearsing. And so I'm feeling pretty good that if we have, in addition to the filtration system of the buildings, that we have an added filtration system in the room to help us keep down those aerosols. So I was excited about that piece of information. And I also have permission to move forward with the Zoom room purchases. So I'm looking at all that. Those of you that are using your faculty studios as Zoom rooms, some people have asked what we're going to be doing, how students are going to have access to those rooms. I have requested, some faculty have asked if we could have keypad locks put on those rooms, and those are exceedingly expensive. So that's not going to be an option, but what we might be doing, and I'm hoping to get approval for, is to be able to hang on each of your doorknobs one of those realtor boxes, that has a big U bar on top. It hangs on the doorknob and it clicks on the doorknob. You can't take it off the doorknob, but there's a key inside with a combination sort of lock on it. So the student could come up, open the combination lock, so your students would have that combination. They'd open the lock, it'd pop open, there's a key, and they could open it and go in. I'm hoping that I'll get approval for that. Ruben has gone to Jason McLean just to make sure that that's okay. There may be some question about students having access to keys, but we'll work through it. But that's the current solution right now. I think that's my list of things I want to update you on. There's always something, but if it comes up, I'll let you know. Please let me know if you have any questions. Again, appreciate your support. I think things are going well. Stay safe. Hopefully it's going to cool off over the next week, so you'll be able to maybe enjoy the outdoors a little bit more as the week goes on. Okay? Take care, everybody. Bye.